And that concludes our service tonight. For those, I'm sorry for those in the stream if you joined late. And the string quartet just went home. I'm sorry, you missed. We did a lot in the first 7 minutes. So anyway, Shabbat Shalom. And for those at home, we did start late, so you didn't miss anything. We have a special presentation tonight. Arnold, right, and Matt, his son, will be doing a presentation a little later. And Rabbi is not here tonight. He is in Chicago with Carolyn. They're visiting his parents and her parents. So I will be doing services tonight. So sing loud and pray hard. I've got my heckler in the front row here. So let's start on page 638. This was one of your requests. Here we go. We're going to start with just kind of a nigun, so you get the sense of the tune. Second part goes like this. So if you have trouble with the words, you can just do the die-die. Here we go. Im bat ve'in sarechem kemo vavat Diroi kera leven im bat ve'in sarechem kemo vavat Neim shimchem velo yushabat shavu venuchu beyom Shabbat shavu venuchu beyom Shabbat. From the beginning again. Diro yikra leven im bat ve'in sorechem kemo vavat Diro yikra leven im bat ve'in sorechem kemo vavat Neim shimchem velo yushabat shavu venuchu beyom Shabbat shavu venuchu beyom Shabbat. Now we say an official Shabbat Shalom to you all, and I'd like to invite Effie and Shira up to light the Shabbat candles. Or I mean, not Effie. I meant just Shira is what I meant. Yes, you don't do candles. Yes, it's in your contract. I saw that. I forgot.
candles with the tricky wicks?
We'll see. Yeah, I think you're good.
Yeah, looks like it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
Thank you. Let's see, let's turn to, don't have my outline here, so see, so I needed Nadia to come and do it, because she always has a really nice outline. Let's read page 124, just because it's there. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door in the brightness of Shabbat. Let peace settle upon as we lift our hearts in prayer. And let's turn to page 138 and sing L'Chadodi. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekapela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekapela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmianu. El hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad shemu tiferet v'letihila lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekapela lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekapela likrat Shabbat Lachuvan elcha ki mikor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh b'machshavat techila lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekapela lecha dodi likrat kala Pene Shabbat nekapela. We're going to go to number 8. Yamin usmol tifroti ve'et Adonai ta'ariti al yad ish ben parti v'nismecha v'nagila lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekapela lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekapela. Please rise. We face the entryway for Boi v'Shalom, number 9. Boi v'Shalom ateret balahagam b'simcha ובצהלה תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. And let's just, let's see, actually we'll go, please remain standing. We'll do the Kaddish on page 144. Yitkada v'yitkadash shemei rabba, v'yalma divrach yerute v'yamlik malchute, b'cha yechon uv'yom echon, uv'chaye decho beit Yisrael, ba'agala, uvizman kariv, ve'imeru, amen. Yehesh le'olam ul'olmei almaya, yitbarach, v'yittabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yithale, v'yithala, shemei dekudesha barichu, ve'la min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiron bi'alma, ve'imeru, amen. Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Lai la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai Hamevorach, Baruch Adonai Hamevorach, Hamevorach le'olam va'ed, Hamevorach, Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. Why don't we see if we can read the Ma'ariv Aravim in Hebrew. We haven't done that in a while. Page 148. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim b'chokhma poteach sha'arim uvitvuna mishaneh itim umachalif et hazmanim umsader et ha'kochavim b'mishmorotehem barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila. Adonai tzavaot shemo, el chai v'kayam. Tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv arafim. And we'll sing Ahavat on the following page. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael. Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah umitzvot, Hukim umishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Akein Adonai Eloheinu v'shochvenu v'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסתיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. And I'm going to teach you it's an old melody for Shema, but it's fairly new to us, and I'm considering doing it for the high holidays, so I thought we would learn it. It was written by a friend of mine who just passed away a couple years ago. He's a rabbi. He was in Minnesota, named Sim Glazer. His father's name was in many books, Sidurim, and he was a pretty well-known rabbi, I think in New York or Ohio, Joseph Glazer. But this is his son, Sim. And when we made an album at camp, we were all very young, and we just recorded it in Maury Hirschman's cabin. Maury was, you probably know Maury Hirschman. No, don't you know Maury Hirschman? Because he was head of the URJ at the time, so he was a big macher at the time. But anyway, yeah, so it was a real camp album because we did it just in a cabin. It was just very low key. And so here's the Shema that he wrote, the melody, and it has the Hebrew and the English. So it goes like this. Hear, O Israel, Adonai our God, Adonai is one. You can try that if it's in your key. Hear, O Israel, Adonai our God, Adonai is one. It goes up the first time, down the second time. Hear, O Israel, Adonai our God, Adonai is one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai our God, Adonai is one. Hear, O Israel, Adonai our God, Adonai is one. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. O Israel, Adonai our God, Adonai is one. And those two parts go together. Hear, O Israel, and Shema Yisrael. So that's why we need a choir, you see. Okay. Join me on page 154 for the Ahafta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivdecha b'veitecha uvlektecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam laot al yadecha v'hayuda totafot bein einecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha lema'an tiskaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiyot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem. And we'll join in on reading together on 157 at the top. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. And I always call this Miriam Michamocha because she brought it to my attention. Page 158. This is to the tune of The Water is Wide, in case it sounds familiar and say, I know that from somewhere. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai Michamocha Nedar ba'kodesh Norah tehilot Osef eleh Norah tehilot Osef eleh Malchutecha Ra'u vanecha Lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Ze'eli anu v'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Michamocha ba'elim Adonai Michamocha Nedar ba'kodesh Norah tehilot Osef eleh Norah tehilot Osef eleh Norah tehilot Osef eleh. Page 161. We're going to go from the top of 161 to the top of 160 to the bottom of 161. I hope you got all that. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Top of 160. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Ufro aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Now we're at the bottom of page 161. Sorry, Effie. Here we go. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. Now, before we go into the amens, I just want to also remind you that the shelter us and the amens go together. They can be sung together. So choose any part you want, the amens or the shelter us. Maybe we'll do it a couple more times. You can switch. Here we go. So, shelter us beneath your wings. Amen, amen. Guard us from all harmful things. Amen. Keep us safe. Amen. Amen, amen. Amen, amen. Amen. Now try the other part. Amen. O Adonai, guard us from all harmful things. Oh, right, you have to sing the amens twice. You figured that out. Amen. Amen, amen. Amen, amen. Amen. Everybody, amen. Amen. Amen, amen. Amen, amen. Amen. Beautiful. So you can do that anytime we do that. Because I can only do one part at a time. That's why we need a choir. Did I say that already? Oh, I didn't. Good. Okay. Let's see. Well, I think we'll jump to the Amidah, which is on page 164. So please rise. I guess we typically open the ark doors. Let's do that. We usually invite, a child up here, but I don't want to invite Effie up again, so. Please join me. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagit tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol Vezocher Chastei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah rav lehoshia. Morid hatah, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamochal ba'gavurot, Umidom melach, Melech memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, ukdoshim b'chol yom yahalalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. We're going to sing at the top of page 176. There's an English section that I wrote that's not there. But you'll hear it. Modim anachnu lach, sha'atahu Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu, le'olam va'ed. Modim anachnu lach, sha'atahu Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu, le'olam va'ed. Try that again. Modim anachnu lach, Sha'atahu Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu, le'olam va'ed. Modim anachnu lach, Sha'atahu Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu, le'olam va'ed. Oh, give thanks for the sky above, for the new snow of December, for the spring and a summer song that the autumn winds remember. Oh, sing out for the love that grows and the life that flows within us. Oh, be glad for another day. Modim anachnu lach, sha'atahu Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu, le'olam va'ed. Modim anachnu lach, sha'atahu Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei imoteinu, le'olam va'ed. Eloheinu ve'Elohei imoteinu, le'olam va'ed. And that brings us to our healing blessing, which you'll find on, I find it on 371 or 511, whichever you prefer. And let me grab the list here. do my best to pronounce these right. And we send out our healing thoughts and blessings to the following members of our community: Ilana Massey, Kevin Brackett, Kirk Whitlatch, Kathy Rotto, Aaron Ledden, Rachel Sadek, Michaela Cohen, Tracy Adams, Joan Wilmert, Kim Stevens, James Lynch, Dawn Copland, Nancy Pollock, Pat Shapiro, Denise Robinson, Rachel Friedman, Paula Schwartz-Perville, Marty Spitz, Judy Feiner, Angel Lozano, Megan Kirschbaum, Alianza Chavez, Ralph Garber, Aaron Yitzchak, Ellen Elson, David Margulies, Donna Mendelson, Brooks Painter, Harriet Lehman, Kathleen Conray, Melvin Goldstein, Sherry Levison, Robert Solomon, Mark Odenweller, Nancy Berman Brown, Rudy Zeidler. And are there any other names that you would like to say? We'll start over there. And we sing the Misha Berach blessing, as I said, page 511 or 371, in the center of the page. Misha Berach Avotenu Mikor habracha le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And now I invite up Mara to introduce our special guest presenters tonight.
Shalom. Tonight's Drosh will be given by father and son duo Arnold and Matthew Zeiderman on how the Commission for the Preservation of Pioneer Jewish Cemeteries and Landmarks came to be an adjunct to the Judah Magnus Museum in Berkeley and its current status and mission.
Thank you. I'm Matt Zeiderman. Dad, why don't you come up? This is my dad, Dr. Arnie Zeiderman. I've met most of you at some point. You might not know me. You probably know my daughter. She's usually the 2-year-old making a lot of noise here. So it's a good start for us. Rabbi Goldstein, a couple months ago, found an article that interviewed my father in J Weekly. And this was a discussion about the pioneer Jewish cemeteries of the West. So this is kind of a little-known topic. It's not something that we would typically learn about in Sunday school. You're usually going to learn about this either taking a deep dive in Jewish history, or perhaps you find your way to the Magnus Museum. The reason this became pertinent to our lives is my Eagle Scout project back in 2007 was the restoration of a pioneer Jewish cemetery. And that was next to our hometown. So I grew up in Sutter Creek, 3 to 4 miles down the road from Jackson, California. And that was right in the heart of gold country back in the 1850s through the 1870s. So back then, believe it or not, there were Jews there, and they were primarily merchants, some miners, but there was a community and an early synagogue, which has since, I believe it burned down many, many years ago, but it's now the site of the Jackson Elementary School. But he thought this might be of interest, so we're going to give a short talk on this tonight, and I'm going to kind of lead the way, and I'm going to let you chime in whenever you think you should just cut me off, and I've said enough. So, oh, the handheld? Can you hear me better now? Oh, okay, Dad's going to need it. So in this slide, here. So in this slide is just a quick picture of the article that stimulated this. So this was in J Weekly back in May. And I put on a QR code there if you actually want to have a link to the site. So get your phones out if you need it. And I've got another one at the end of the presentation as well. So the Judah Magnus Museum is essentially the Jewish History Museum of the West, or you could argue that it is. It is named after Rabbi Judah Magnus. He was from Oakland, living from 1877 to 1948, and he was ultimately the first chancellor and president of the Hebrew Museum in Jerusalem. So for his time, he was quite the influential figure, particularly on the West Coast. Now, the idea for a museum named in his honor came from Mr. Seymour Frommer. This was back in 1960. I don't know if any of y'all have met Mr. Frommer. Okay, very nice gentleman. So he and his wife started this idea back in 1960. And at that time, he was serving as the director of the Jewish Education Council of Alameda and Contra Costa counties. So this sort of became his brainchild over the period of a couple of years here. And I get all my years a little confused in here. There's a lot going on, but at the end of the day, this was his brainchild. He made it happen, and the museum has since started to flourish, collected progressively more collections over the past years, and it's now on its third location that I'm aware of, but it continues to grow, and they've got quite the collection of Jewish history. If you've not been there, it's certainly worth the trip. It's still located in Berkeley. It's down on Bancroft Avenue, but there was a period of time where it was off of Alcatraz. Yeah. You want a side story? Somebody tried to steal the wheels off his car on Alcatraz one time, also in the 70s. But we won't go there, right? Yeah, you like that. So some of the history. Dr. Robert Levinson, he documented much of this in just doing his own background research on the pioneer cemeteries of the West. And from this background research, then came the commission for the preservation of pioneer Jewish cemeteries and landmarks. And since that time, Susan Morris, who we're friendly with, wrote this book many years ago, and is a very interesting documentation of the lives of the many influential Jewish people within these communities. So there are currently 7 cemeteries that are maintained under the commission, and basically the Judah Magnus Museum oversees the commission, so it's housed within it. And these are 7 locations, so Jackson, Sonora, Grass Valley, Placerville, Nevada City, McCallum Hill, Marysville. Various sizes of all these different cemeteries. Most of them have not had a burial since the roughly early 20th century, 1920s. I think in Jackson it was 1921. But the communities are trying to preserve these cemeteries as a part of as a part of our Jewish heritage and our community. I do have a QR code for this book later. I do think it's a very interesting read. She's done a lot of work. She has revised it since I first read it many years ago. And at that time, I was probably 17 years old, so it's been a solid 18 years. But right now, I'm just going to kind of show you some pictures. So this is what is familiar to us. This is the Givoth Cemetery in Jackson. This was my Eagle Scout project. That was actually a sign that I had redesigned for that cemetery, which had not been cared for a solid 20, 30 years. So at that time, it had been overgrown, trees were overgrowing, a lot was coming down. And this is many years, and my dad and many others have been working to maintain what we did during that time. But it's got a special place for us. Frozen, hold a sec. Sorry. Anybody have a good joke? Sure, I'd be happy to. I'm happy to do that for you.
See if you can get it to move. Well, let me see. Can you hear me? No? Just keep talking? How much, how's that gonna work?
Andrew, you on this?
Hello? We're having all sorts of technical problems.
Okay, so here we go. Let's go back through some embarrassing pictures. This is me in 2007 at the end of my project. I've got a very, very nice uniform there. I look very thrilled to be there. But that was at the completion of my project. So you notice everything around there is clean. When we started, everything was overgrown, full of leaves. And I actually got some of my friends. So these guys actually, that's a couple of twins. Not Jewish, actually not involved in Scouts either, but good friends of mine who went back a ways that came out to help. So that's what's important about these projects. It's not just the Scouts who do it. You get your friends and other people in the community to come help you do these things. So we were cleaning up these sites with shaving cream and toothbrushes. And that is what, oh, come on. Here. So shaving cream and toothbrushes. And then we're getting out there with hoses when we're done with all that. So, given enough presentations in my life. Okay, so old photos, high school was actually doing some work. We did what we could there. But now, the work is still continuing. So this is a picture of a meeting with Rabbi Larry Friedman, who is based out of Stockton. He actually did my bar mitzvah back in 2001, 2002.
Whenever you were 13.
Okay, whenever that was. I don't math good. But this is a meeting with some of the community members. My dad's there as well. I believe he's over in the far left next to, sitting behind the table. And I don't know what you had to say here, but this was the recent event, and this is what the J Weekly article was based off of. So as you can see, the community is still pitched in and to try and maintain these artifacts. There's actually a lot of really nice headstones here. Many of them have been glued back into place. Many of them have been re-preserved or whatever is needed to be done. And this is surrounded by a very large Catholic cemetery and Presbyterian cemetery within the community. As you can see, large oak trees. There was actually one that came down a few years ago, caused a fair amount of damage. But for the most part, these headstones have been preserved. So if you go back looking through the history of what happened in these in the Motherlode, kind of interesting. What would you want to add to this?
Okay.
Yeah, you start talking. Here, come here.
This works? Yeah. Okay, good evening. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for inviting Matt and myself here, and we're happy to share some of this with you. Now, there's an awful lot to unpack here, and I know it seems a little bit overwhelming because there's all aspects, but basically, we're we just want to give you an idea to understand that there is an official California State Commission, and the job of the people on the commission, like myself, and there are maybe a dozen of us, is to look after the cemeteries. And essentially, the commission owns the cemeteries. We literally own the dirt on the ground. It's real simple. So that gives us a lot of autonomy. There are 7 cemeteries, starting in the south in Sonora, and in the north in Nevada City. There's also Grass Valley and Placer, Mokelumne Hill, Marysville. I think that's 7. Well, so it's interesting, you know, when the Jews started migrating, they came in from the Bay Area. Whether they came by ship or they came across the land, they sort of came that way. They went through Stockton. You know, that Temple Sinai in Stockton claims to be the oldest or the second oldest synagogue in California. And we have some very old synagogues. There was a synagogue in Jackson, which is no longer there because it burned down and everybody was gone. But that was the oldest Jewish synagogue in the Motherlode, in the Gold Country. The oldest cemetery is in Sonora. There's a beautiful cemetery in Sonora. If you're down there, you should go to it. They never had a synagogue. They had a cemetery, but they never had a synagogue. So every community was a little bit different. Jackson had, about 35 families, and they had a very viable community. And there's just every single community has different stories. As we know the story about Levi Strauss, and the Goldwaters were in Sonora, and there are a number of very prominent San Francisco Jewish families that basically started as gold miners. And the Jews actually, and they were gold miners, by the way. They weren't just merchants. They weren't only the people that owned the hardware store. A lot of them were very successful gold miners. And then when the gold ran out, people left. By the 1880s, the gold had run out and people were out of the area. So we have a commission, and it might be interesting if you want to go online, learn a little bit. There's quite a bit of information. It's nice that we have computers now where you can get this information. But there are a lot of stories here. You know, Bob Levinson's book, this is the definitive book, Bob Levinson, The Jews in the California Gold Rush. It was really based upon his PhD thesis at the University of Oregon, and then he had an appointment at San Jose State where he had an appointment as professor at San Jose State. And this is a great source of information. Levinson, he died an early death, unfortunately. He died on Highway 17 going home, if you know the way to Santa Cruz. A lot of really great information. The other book, and either of these are available if you have that interest. Susan Morris, who's a trained historian, put this traveler's guide, and basically each cemetery is covered here with lots of historical information, and actually every single person that's buried in every one of the cemeteries is mentioned in her book with whatever information she could get together. So if you have that predisposed, you might want to go up and visit one of these cemeteries on a weekend. I would suggest that before you do that, make sure that make sure that it's not locked, that if there is, there may be a lock or a combination, or you may need some information about entry, but don't just go up there on your own, okay? But we have a lovely cemetery in Jackson. It's taken an immense amount of work over the years, and also takes an immense amount of money to maintain a cemetery. You know, we have these multiple 100-year-old oaks, and they drop branches that are as large as trees, and trees die. And a couple of years ago, we spent $15,000 in Jackson just on tree work. And then there's the fence work and the gate work and the cleaning up. So it takes some resources, takes some interest of people in the community, and you're a part of the community, the greater community. So I think I will stop at this point. I wanted to just reinforce that if you're a person who likes books and if you like to read,
Readily available on Amazon, $20.
These would be a good way to go. Just go on the website of the Commission for the Preservation of Pioneer Jewish Cemeteries and Landmarks in California, in the West. And you'll see these books can be ordered. They're very reasonably priced. A lot of information that it's not of interest to everybody, but some people really like this kind of stuff, and it's great history. A lot of interesting things that we can learn about the past. So I'm going to stop at this point, and we were going to respond to questions. For example, this gentleman.
Thank you. So, does the California Commission, is it taxpayer funded or is it funded by volunteers and beneficiaries?
There's no funding. We have members.
Privately funded.
It's privately funded. It's not funded by the state, and you know, we do fundraising on an annual basis, starting at maybe $35. Some people contribute more money, but we actually have money in the bank. We're doing fine in terms of that. But what we need is people to take responsibility within their own community to clean up and to do the other work. It's really hard to get volunteers, to be very honest. We no longer have a viable Jewish community in Amador County. When I came there, we had a part-time rabbi, and we had, you know, maybe 20 or 30 people, and that doesn't exist anymore. So we have to find some other ways of doing it. And I have someone that works at our home, and he'll go over and do the weed whacking and stuff like that, and we pay him. And that's easy. But there's quite a bit of responsibility to taking care of a cemetery. What we don't do is we don't bury people there. They're not living cemeteries, because that presents all sorts of complications in terms of ongoing responsibility. So we don't do that. We've only made an exception for a Holocaust survivor and his wife who were buried in Sonora. But basically, these are monuments to the past. These are monuments to the Jewish communities that lived and thrived in the Gold Rush area in the times of the Gold Rush. Any other questions? Okay. Why don't we go to this gentleman? We're going to get to you. Sure.
Dr. McClure?
Yes.
Okay, so the families that ultimately left Gold Country, now, do their forebears come back and visit in the cemetery?
Some of them do. Yes, some of them do come back. Yeah. But probably not a lot, frankly. Did you have anybody particular in mind that you were?
I think there's a lot of very rich families in San Francisco.
Yes.
Warren Hellman, Levi Strauss.
Most of those wealthy Jewish families in San Francisco originally were in the foothills, and we have Zellerbach. Stephen Zellerbach was one of the founders of the commission. So Zellerbach's auditorium on UC campus. Yeah. So that there are, and you know, you have the legacy. Now you're hearing this about Dan Laurie. You know, Dan Laurie is now the mayor of San Francisco, and he is somehow someone in his family was, I guess it was his mother that was the Strauss, because that's why he's a Laurie. You follow me? So you have the Strauss and the Haas families, and that goes all the way back. And the interesting thing is, so we have a member of the commission. You know, you don't have to be Jewish to be on the commission. He's not Jewish. He's a sixth generation, so that he has a great-great-great-grandfather and great-great-great-grandmother. He lives up in Nevada City, and somehow they found out through the family that there were Jews. And you have the people buried in that cemetery. There were 6 generations before him. And there's a tie-in there with the Haas family. I'm trying to remember the number of the names. But people somehow find their heritage, you know, in cemeteries. And I kind of encourage that, because I'm a big believer that that the cemetery doesn't represent just a bunch of Jewish people that happened to come there to dig for gold and were buried there. They were a vibrant part of the community. They were, some of them were successful. There was one in Jackson who was a judge, and many of them were merchants. And these people were part of the community and made things go very successful. But it turned out that they moved on afterwards. So we only have the memories that we can see through the cemeteries. I think you had a question?
Before Effie, I have a question over here.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that my mom's brother wrote just a little article about his family being up at the Placerville Cemetery. So my sister and I went up there a couple of years ago and found a tombstone. It doesn't have any dates or anything on it, but it was pretty cool to see it.
And you were able to get in, huh? You weren't locked out?
There was no lock. There was nothing.
Yeah.
It was tiny little place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that.
Effie's very soft-spoken, so.
I'm involved with the Gan Shalom Cemetery that was recent, several years ago. We put it together in the East Bay.
Yes.
The Gan Shalom, it's basically the only real Jewish cemetery in the East Bay. But tell me something which is very interesting to me. I was under the impression that any cemetery not used for 100 years is subject to being erased. How do you escape?
Well, that's why we have the commission. No.
If the law is such that after 100 years of no new burials, because some of the cemeteries, specifically for that reason, keep some and they do one every,
let me try to answer it this way. You know, wherever you go in this world, you find cemeteries because people die and they get buried, okay? They're all over the place. And I'm also on the Amador County Historic Cemetery group, whatever, okay, and we have probably half a dozen other cemeteries in Amador County. And we have a problem, and these are not Jewish cemeteries. These are just small towns in Fiddletown and here and there. There are cemeteries all over the place. It's a big problem. They need a lot of care, you're right. Because things get very, very messy. Everything gets overgrown. The stones they fall over and things like that. I could spend half the evening telling you about all the things we've had to fix in the cemetery in recent years, and it's quite expensive. The stones fall over, and then nowadays we'd like to lay them down flat instead of having them standing up. Okay, that's the newest way of going about it. No more of this using toothbrushes, and you're not supposed to do that kind of stuff. So, so there as you look around, I'm sure you've had plenty of old cemeteries in Napa. I'm sure there are several of them here. I don't know whether they're being looked after, whether the city government has any responsibility, but we do in our county. So you're right. Okay, any more questions? Did we cover it all? I hope we didn't leave you confused. You walk out the door, you can put a couple of sentences together about what we said tonight, right?
I, for one, find cemeteries fascinating and love, when I go to cemeteries to visit my loved ones, I like looking at other people's grave sites. But thank you so much to the Dr. Zederman.
Yes. Yes. And you can thank me for bringing my son to your county to practice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right.
Yep. While the QR code is going up, if we can, no? So thank you again to both Arnold and Matthew Zederman, doctors. I do call up Mark Charney, our Board of Trustees member, who's going to give the announcements. I apologize in advance. They are a little bit lengthy today. We are coming upon the high holidays, and there's a lot to be said. So we'll wait for Effie and Cher to make a quick getaway.
I think I've had longer ones, so it's not too bad. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. That was very interesting. Thank you. I just walked through the Yountville Cemetery, so there is an old cemetery, which actually is still active, I think. I mean, I saw some fairly recent burials, so probably. Yeah, I'm sure, yeah. George C. Yant is buried there. George C. Yant, who the town is named after, he's buried there, so I'm sure the town is taking care of that one. Drum roll, the new website is live for anyone who's looked. It looks very good. It's easier to navigate than the old one. Thank you, Amy, who helped put that together. On August 28th, coming up, there will be some sessions for anyone who needs some help with that at 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. right here, I think in one of the rooms back there, maybe in the annex, I'm not sure. Torah study will be on August 23rd. Oh, it's been canceled. So there will be no Torah study on August 23rd, so forget about that. Pack your bathing suits, and a towel. Religious school at the shul with the pool is starting on September 7th. Be sure to register your children ages 3 through 7th grade. Following religious school, there will be a meet and greet schmooze session for parents hosted by Rabbi Niles and Carolyn. Speaking of religious school, we're getting the band back together, so to speak. The education committee is making a comeback, which it sounds like is sorely needed. Shira Lubliner will be at the helm. Any interested members with interest in children, teens, parents, young adults, or lifelong learning, and you would like to be on the committee, please email the office or contact Shira. The youth group will have its kickoff on Wednesday, September 10th. Please register online if your child is in the 6th through 12th grade. On September 12th, there's going to be an open house pool party from 3 to 6 prior to services at 6. Come by the pool for some snacks and meet the board. There may even be special prizes that day. Also, if you aren't already a member, we will be having a business card raffle. Bring a business card for a chance to win a year of free membership at CBS. Join us for a pre-holiday challah bake on Sunday, September 21st at 11 a.m. And Torah Yoga will be back, led by CBS's own Amy Hall at her studio. Mat Yoga will take place at 6 p.m. on September 4th and 9th. And Chair Yoga will be held in the social hall here on September 16th at 1 p.m. I'm not sure about the times on those September 4th and 9th. You have to check the website. Your right, kind of a pun here, WRITE, to Resilience, will be making a return on Thursday, September 11th at 3:30 p.m. Contact Catherine Goldman to join. Soul Sisters will kick off their book club season with a discussion of Parallel Lines, written by Ruth Eglash, on September 16th, Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning. And for Shabbos regulars, just a quick heads up, on September 26th, we'll be having a small sweet oneg in the lobby following services. Grab a sweet treat on your way to dinner rather than our usual full-blown onegs. So desserts before dinner. That's why I didn't even see that. It is a long one. I thought that was all there was. Help fill up CBS by inviting a Bay Area local to join us for high holidays at no cost to them or you. Information on high holiday services can be found on the new website, but here are some previews. Please remember to register online so we can be prepared for security purposes. Registration form includes a place to send holiday wishes to other members, as well as adding names to the Yizkor book. So starting 7 p.m. Saturday, September 13th, will be Selichot services, including a Havdalah, poems, and a guided meditation by Stuart Eisendrath. On Monday, September 22nd at 7 p.m., Erev Rosh Hashanah, followed by services on the Tuesday, September 23rd, with Tashlich ending at 4 p.m. Kaver Avot will take place at Ner Tamid on Sunday, September 28th at 11 in the morning. Kol Nidre for Yom Kippur will start at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, October 1st. Oh, well, then the day service will be on Thursday, October 2nd for Yom Kippur. Bring your drill and ladder to help build a sukkah on October 5th. Celebrate sukkah on Wednesday, 6 p.m., October 8th, with pizza in the Sukkot, pizza in the hut, followed by a youth group. Sukkot Shabbat potluck services we held at Hagafen on Friday, October 10th. If you're over 21, please register and join us for Scotch and Steak in the Sukkah on Saturday, October 11th. Sounds interesting. We'll be serving steak dinner followed by a Scotch and whiskey tasting led by a local importer, including whiskey from Israel. Sounds interesting. Baked goods, not wine, is requests of the moment. Help our owners to be even sweeter by contributing freezable baked goods such as cookies, bars, loaves, bundt cakes, brownies. Please clearly mark if your baked goods contain nuts or happen to be gluten-free. CBS will receive 80% of the sale price of any vehicle donated, and you need not live in Napa to participate. So tell your friends and family. Thank you to our most recent car donor, David Posner. The most recent CBS newsletter with information on all temple events is available on the new website, and a flyer for the upcoming events can be found in the lobby outside. Tonight's Onig is sponsored by Kate Enos and Matthew Zeiderman. Thank you. We'd like to give a warm wishes to this week's birthday and anniversary. Almost done here, I think. Yeah, no more pages. Happy birthday to Fred Walls, Kimberly Shaw, Christopher Moriski, Miriam Shine, Deb Bloomberg, and Lily Goldman. And happy anniversary to Pam and Alan Bergman, and Susan Copperman and Philip Ross. Shabbat Shalom.
Let's turn to page, I think it's 586 for the Aleinu. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. And we'll still stay standing for the Kaddish on page 598. And let's read the list. Let's see. That's the... I only see one page here. Let me see. Okay. I'd like to read the one-year Kaddish list. We remember Michael Blend, Renee Merer, William Powell Hudson, David Folkman, David Ash, Diane Gallagher, Elizabeth Foster, Diane Ratto Persile, Lynn Posner, Shiri Bibas, Ariel Bibas, Kfir Bibas, Sharon Meyer Fuller, Wolfgang Schechter, Itzhak Elgarat, Tsahi Idan, Ohad Yahalomi, Shlomo Matsur, Oded Lifshitz, Fran Danin, Yvette Abitan, Barbara Gardner, Mark Reisman, Muriel Mickey Kopel, Joel Cohen, Alana Goldman, Susie Frischman, Judy Lynn, Claude Raoua, I'm not sure how to say that, Alan Jerome Simon, Donna Schechter, Carolyn Goldman, Milo Ben Yona Yoshua, and her Yite site list, Anna Solomon, Maureen Reinganum, I'm sorry about that, Leona Bieber, Julius Mickey Cohen, Robin Carafol Wright, Ida Rosenblatt, Abe Euster, Ben Hecht, William Weidler, Ruth Bershak, Doris Rubin, Nathan Schumer, Max Yesowich, Peter LeBand. Any other names? Yeah. And we, for all those names, we say Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. Yitkadal, Vyitkada, Shmei Rabbah, Bialma Divrach Hirute, Viamlik Malchute, B'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chaye Decho Beit Yisrael, Ba'gala V'zman Kavriva Imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Olmei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shmei Dekudashah Barichu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba mishmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We think of our loved ones who death has recently taken from us, those who died at this seasons in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. Zikronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. You can be seated, and we'll just sing a last Shabbat Shalom, and we'll do the blessings here since everything's here. Please join me in the Kiddush. Sorry. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim. Okay, and then we join in the Motzi. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Batei avon. And we'll adjourn to the social hall for our oneg. Thank our guests again, good doctors. Really appreciate the talk. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom.